the supply of weapons by whoever is supplying them, and it could well be other governments, will exacerbate the conflict. The militarization of the conflict is the last thing we need now. Why? Because it's civilians who are caught in the crossfire and who are at risk. The Commission of Inquiry was unable to ascertain who are supplying these weapons, but as they are continuing their investigations of this.
How bad...
With regard to... Yeah.
I was going to ask you, how bad, though, is the position on the ground now in Syria? What's your honest assessment of the violence and the issue of human rights abuses? I mean, are things getting worse?
I've just reported to the Security Council that all the evidence points to a deteriorating situation. Huge numbers in detention, subject to torture. Huge numbers of people in old homes and the other city are cut off from humanitarian aid. Both the society, the Red Crescent and Red Cross, are unable to get access in because both parties are fighting on the ground, and it's not safe to take in water, food for people who are denied access to these life needs that they have. So the situation, in my view, is critical. The violence has to stop.
We understand you're also considering referring Syria to the International Criminal Court. Who exactly will be referred to the court, and what crimes will they be charged with?
Serious perpetrators of these egregious crimes, whether they come from the government and government forces or the anti-government forces, are all liable to investigation for these serious crimes against humanity. I am calling for accountability on the part of all perpetrators, and the one body that can refer this matter for investigation by the International Criminal Court is the Security Council. It's true that it's a political decision. On the other hand, almost 14,000 people have been killed, and this is really serious. It's time for the Security Council to act in the matter.
It is an interesting point you make because, as you say, we've seen the terrible suffering that civilians in Syria have gone through. The UN has even investigated reported atrocities. Do you think Syria is committed to protecting its civilians?
All the evidence points to government action being the opposite, where they are shelling their own citizens, they're shelling civilians. The government has sent me many notes verbal explaining that they are dealing with terrorist attacks. Here I say, let the Commission of Inquiry in, let my office in, so that we can verify these claims. At the moment, it's the government who are in control. They've detained people, they've denied access to investigators, they've denied access to journalists. And it's very important that they let all of us in so that we could investigate, monitor, and at least begin the process of a ceasefire and stopping these violations.
Let's just talk about this latest plan by the Special Envoy, Kofi Annan, to have some kind of unity government, because already some opposition groups are saying, look, we can't work in a government that could see President Bashar al-Assad at the top. So is this plan really dead in the water, do you think?
I think it's an important principle that Mr. Kofi Annan is pursuing, and a plan on principles that has been adopted now by all the foreign ministers concerned who met in Geneva. And the point is that if parties can come together, they can address issues such as accountability. I have been given a confidential list of names of perpetrators by the Commission of Inquiry. I stand ready to hand that to a credible investigation body, which could be national, it could be international. So it's a process that offers hope for democracy and a human rights-centered society in Syria, but it's for Syrians to decide these outcomes.
You say it's a confidential list. How long is that list?
No, I have not opened it because it was handed to me under those conditions. It's sealed, and I should hand them to any credible investigation body that requests the information from me.
Let me get a brief.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me get a brief final thought from you because we're running out of time. I want to just quickly talk to you about Russia. Russia says it'll meet with opposition groups and Kofi Annan in July. What's your assessment of the Russian role? How's it being viewed? Because on the one hand, Russia is the largest supplier of weapons to the Assad regime, yet it's also appearing now to be an honest broker. What do you think the Russian agenda really is?
I think that every country, including Russia, has a role to play here to at least have Kofi Annan's plan implemented, item 1 of which is a ceasefire. The focus should be on protection of civilians and a political solution for Syria. And Russia, I think, is in a key position to play a role. They are equally dismayed at the deterioration of human rights violations in the country. They also call for a stop to the killings from all sides.